welcome to another video on the Blue or Broad YouTube channel. We have now had the benefit of I've seen 2 training sessions as we gear up for season 2024. We're about to go on the Christmas break. The boys are, that is. I guess we are as well. The content won't stop. The conversations won't stop. And so in this video, I want to replay a video that I did about 12 months ago, which was my 5 players to watch. So basically, I'm looking at a select group of players here who I've seen, for the most part, training in the 2 sessions. And I just generally from a feeling of how they finished season 2023, their storylines. So I'm going to limit it to 5 players who I've actually seen in full training. There are a couple of names that I'll mention towards the end who may not be in full training or may not be a part of the senior side for more than a handful of games next season. But I think these are the guys for me who are going to be, in my view, the keys to success. So the first one is Jack Silvagni. I feel like I put him in every type of list that I do like this, but Jack is just so unique. There are not many clubs which have a player like Jack Silvagni in their side. I would argue no club has a player like Jack Silvagni in their side. For what he brings on the field, for what he brings off the field, it's the total package. But if you think about Jack on the field, what he allows us to do is, plans are great. Planning for a game of footy is great. Planning for a season is great. But the reality is, on game day, anything can happen, whether it's an injury, whether it's a collision, incidental contact, whatever. Jack Silvagni is so unique because he can play so many different positions at a relatively high level, and it allows the shuffling of the magnets to become a lot more easier. So, he obviously plays forward. He plays in the ruck. He can go in, have little spurts on the ball. He can play behind the ball. And I think that, coupled with a few things. Firstly, I think the disappointment of 2023 will linger inside him. He's a competitive guy. He's spoken openly about it. He is also a Carlton man. He loves the place. He has like a real emotional, deep connection to the place. And I can't help but imagine, if he's the competitor that I believe him to be, can't imagine now not playing in that final series doesn't consume him, an element to his thought process and his motivation levels. And at this point of the year, particularly in pre-season, you need anything you can get. I think once the season comes around, you're left to the work that you did in the pre-season. And I think it's important for anyone to have a weight to carry. And I think he has a weight to carry. And I think going into his 9th season now, he's now in that section of the competition where he's going to be older than probably most of the competition or most of the players that he comes up against. And so that, for me, lends itself to the belief that this will be the year. I might have gone a year early. The other thing about him is his body has let him down at the most unfortunate of times. It seems that once he gets either settled in a position, something happens and we've got to move him, or he gets a knock or an injury happens. And so having seen him in both sessions, having seen him move pretty freely in both training sessions, I think he's a crucial piece to the puzzle. And I probably doubted towards the back end of last year whether or not he was in the best 22. In my view, you start opening round with Jack Silvagni in the team, provided he's available. And I think we go from there. And I think in a final, I want Jack Silvagni playing. So he's my first. The second guy is Ollie Hollands. Now, Ollie doesn't necessarily have a weight to carry. I'm very partial to that, by the way. I like that notion of being able to respond from something. But Ollie, for me, this is a personal take. There's something going on with him. There's an elevation that seems to be rapid with him. He seems to be more involved media-wise, off the field, on the field when I'm watching him train. And I said this last year, the key trait to Ollie from what I was seeing was that the way he trains, the intensity in which he trains, that hasn't stopped. Both sessions that I've seen, he seems to be on the end of most chains, in and amongst most chains. There seems to be a trust element with his teammates. He's looking for the give and go. He's just got this running ability, which we all know about. But what it's allowing him to do is it's allowing him to attend more stoppages, more contests. And there's a noticeable difference in how I'm watching him now and the way he's speaking now. It seems like he's already been in the club for a couple of years. He is a Carlton man, so that might be it. It might have just been a bit more of a seamless transition to get into the club because he's familiar with the club and the history. But there's just something about him and the way he trains which gets rewarded. And I think he's a high-level runner, a high-level trainer. And I'll tell you what it reminds me of. It's the attributes that I remember noticing about Sam Walsh in his first few seasons when I was going to training and watching them train. He trains at the same intensity. It's not dissimilar. And I just think that gets rewarded when it's all said and done. Now, Ollie played on the wing for the most part in 23. In 24, you just get the feeling he's going to get more rotations on the ball. I don't know if that means inside or just amongst it, maybe more centre bounce attendances. I'm not exactly sure, but I can't help but imagine that he's just impressing with his leadership, dare I say it, at such a young part of his career. And I actually think he's going to lock himself in the side, no questions asked about it, and be a really good player for us as soon as this year. I don't like to put pressure on young players, but he seems to be moving and dealing in a way which shows a real level of maturity. I can just sense it. Number 3 is a player I had on the list last year, and it was Zach Williams, and it's going to be Zach Williams again. Now, this is the caveat on Zach is that I haven't watched him train full contact like I have the others because he's not ready for that just yet. But having said that, he has still been in the match sim, so to speak. And it's just something about every time he kicks the ball and takes a corridor kick, you see it at training and you sit back and you think that's exactly what the team needs. In times of, when there's always a part in a game, whether we're playing well or where, the momentum is against us. There's certain players that can make certain plays at certain moments. And Zach, clearly for me, is one of those players. The expectation on numbers and things like that, I'm not really there. I haven't really thought about it that far, and I don't think I will, because I think we're such a more balanced team. But I just imagine him, based off the way he's training, based off the way he's looking and moving, and again, that weight to carry. He missed the entirety of 2023. It just seems like he's going to be the exact piece that we need in the back line, not because of anything other than you need to keep evolving. And I think there's a blessing somewhere amongst the story of Zach Williams and the injury he had, and that is that we bring him into the fold almost as a brand new element to the back half that most teams did not prepare for in 2023. So when they're going to go watch footage of him playing with us, it's going to be from 22 and prior to that, and we're such a different side. We move the ball so differently. So I also think we still need to have that gelling period with Zach in the Michael Voss coached team, which hasn't happened yet. So that might take some time. And I think also there's still a bunch of games that he needs to play with the others in the back 6 and the back 7 to get more comfortable. But nonetheless, the motivation levels would clearly be there. And I'm just looking forward to seeing what he's going to do if it looks like a season where he's going to play, 18, 20 games, something like that. That's going to be big for us. The next one is Harry Mackay. For obvious reasons, Harry's just crucial. Now, I'm not worried about Harry. The goal kicking needs to improve, no doubt. His ability to kick for goal needs to improve from 2023. That's unquestionable. What I'm really looking forward to Harry is getting I guess the break, just resetting, getting his mind right. He does a lot of extras, a lot of 1%ers. He's been working on his speed for a couple of years now. And I feel like there will come a time in his career where that'll be down pat, maybe he'll continue to work on it, but his ability to ragdoll his opponents, I think that's the only other part of his game that I think would make him completely unstoppable, as well as being confidently kicking for goal. But his work around the ground, when I went back and watched the highlights and went through game by game and what he was doing for us, I don't know what it is, I think we get comfortable with our good players because they do the basics so well. And it's not until we miss them that we realize how much we appreciate them. And I think Harry falls into this category. When he's not playing, we struggle to move the ball from deep 50 to forward 50. We almost have to bring Charlie up the ground, and then you'd get caught with no big forward that we would usually have there. So Harry just relieves a lot of the ground, and when he marks the ball, on the wing, for example, it just opens up the ground, and we can dominate and we can dictate where the ball moves and where the territory of the congestion moves. So he's crucial. I look at Harry when it comes to the goal kicking. How much do you balance his need to kick goals and his need to just be Harry? And I feel like if I could summarize my expectations of Harry with goal kicking, I think he's a 2-goal a game forward. Simple as that. Keep it simple. So if he's playing 20, 22 games, that's 40, 44, say 40 to 50 goals. He's in that bracket. That for me is all we need. I look at Charlie as probably more of a 3-goal a game to 4-goal a game forward, and I look at Harry as a 2-goal a game forward because of what he does around the ground. Now, I'm sure he's going to have games where he kicks 4, 5, 6, maybe 7, maybe 8. I think that's coming. I really do believe there's a scenario where Harry and Charlie both kick, 4 or 5 goals in games consistently. I hope we're coming up to that in 2024. That's going to be super exciting, and that's going to send a bit of a shockwave to the rest of the competition. But yeah, I think Harry's just ready to go back to his best and just remind nobody else other than himself. That's all that really matters. That's the only person he needs to prove anything to, and that is himself and I guess, his coaches, who he is and what he's capable of. And I'm just looking forward to him having a full preseason, which, again, I've seen him at every session, which is always a good sign. And I'm looking forward to him just getting back to his confident best and elevating some more. So that's Harry. And then number 5 is Sam Walsh. Just, he's one of those people you could talk about. You say his name and you know exactly why I'm talking about him or why someone's talking about him. But he is the next wave of, our leadership. Obviously, he and Jacob are co-vice captains. There hasn't been a word on that dynamic just yet, whether that's going to change or not, but it doesn't really matter for the purpose of this conversation. His running power late in games is going to be crucial in the pointy end of the year. We already saw a bit of it in the final series in 2023, and that was with, I don't think any player is ever truly 100%, particularly in finals footy, but if we could put a percentage on how healthy Sam Walsh was in the final series, I don't think we're going anything close to 85%. So that's the exciting part. His ability to perform under duress and to perform where he's clearly got things hindering him is, I think, his greatest strength. It's his mental toughness. And no different to the club, how do you know you're mentally tough? Well, you have to be tested. And so he seems to be someone that continues to show his mental toughness. The body's looking ready. He came into the club as a number 1 draft pick, teenager. He was skinny, but he was brave. And he pretty quickly has gotten himself to a point now where he's filled out. Maybe I don't know if he's got any much more to fill out, to be honest, but he looks strong. He looks thick enough. And, the back situation with him is one that we will probably be monitoring for the rest of his career. I don't know if it even is going to be a conversation we need to bring up. I know that he works extremely hard and maybe to his detriment at times. So I don't know what that dynamic is like either with him and the fitness staff. But he, for me, is somebody who I feel like in the midfield we're going to need someone to step up and kick more goals than what they usually have. Cripps has kicked 20 in a season. He did it in his Brownlow year. He could obviously do it. But I think it's going to be Sam Walsh. I think and I feel like he's going to hit the scoreboard a bit more in 2024. Get on the end of a little bit more, maybe rest at half forward. I think that worked for us when we were able to do it. And now that he's had a clean run at it, he's back into preseason. He's doing every session. That just sets you up. Every player that speaks on preseason says the exact same thing. And yeah, he has got match-winning ability that's going to come to the surface in 24, and it just feels like it's the year for him. Now, some of the other guys who notable, but I'm just not sure about a few things. Jackson Binns is one who, if I could list 3 players who caught my eye over the 2 sessions that I've been at, Jackson Binns would be probably at the top. So he's obviously one to watch. I'm just not sure if he's going to be a relevant conversation as a player that's going to be in the side playing 20 plus games. He might be. I think he will definitely get that debut. He looks to just be everywhere, very similar to Ollie Hollins and what I was saying. He's just at all the contests. He's just always an option. He's so fit. His running power is really impressive. He's really caught my eye in this preseason, and he looks to have some more confidence about him. So he's a notable. Jack Carroll, I would love to have on this list, but I haven't seen much of him. That's the truth. Seen him running laps at the Christmas session. Looks to be a little bit more, filled out, particularly in his shoulder area. That's usually where I look at it. He's a bit older now, so he's in the sweet spot of his career where he's been at the club for a couple of years in the system. We lose Paddy Dow. We lose Zach Fisher. We lose these types. Opportunity will come for him, no doubt about it. Same with Corey Durden. He's the other one. It's an important year for him. He's one that's got the weight to carry with the injuries that have hindered him, and he's made of the right stuff. And I know that for a fact. His mentality and the way he thinks about things and his honesty with himself, he's made of all the good stuff. And I think with that work ethic paired with his talent and a few years in the system, let the body get adjusted, I think he's another one that I'll be curious about. So those are my 5 and some notables. I probably gave you about 8 there. What about you? Who are your 5 players to watch for season 2024? Let us know in the comments below.